Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here, and I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. We're on the map Site Delta, the AI edition, of course. We've got actually a mirror matchup here today. It's going to be a Zerg taking on a Zerg, two very well-known Zerg bots. First being Ender, and taking on Ender, it's going to be Eris. Eris pretty much the staple as far as high-level bots go at the minute, although it is interesting that their developers have started working on other bots too, but still a very good bot, and so Ender and Eris should be a great match here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, go ahead, hit that like button if you haven't already. If it's not your instinct to slap that like button, do so now. Leave a comment down below that says more bots. You guys are the best at doing that, as really helps out the channel. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. Subscribe and hit that bell icon if you haven't already and you enjoy checking out these bot videos. And then consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel. That's the best way to do so. And enough of that, as we have got Lings on the way. Taking a look at the chat, we have one base L to R. I'm not sure. One base Slayer to Roach. One base... Yeah, I'm not sure 100% what that means. Eris, on the other hand, saying Hatch Gas Pool, getting out the early bases. This is one of the things I love about the Eris bot, is how quickly it expands. Now, we do already have some of these Lings moving out, heading, something's circling this base, so looking to check it out. We actually have a Ling circling, or being queued up to circle all around this base, so that's really interesting, the pathing that Ender elects to use. So the Ling's just running around in circles around that base for now, just saying, yep, that's a base, it's a circle, so I'm going to run around it. And the Lings for Eris, however, are popping out. But wait, did that base get cancelled for Eris? I guess it must have scouted the lack of a base, or something tipped Eris off to actually cancel its base. We can verify that by seeing, yeah, 75 resources lost. So I'm not crazy. I'm not seeing hatcheries. Eris just straight up said, nope, that's too much aggression for me to deal with. And I think that that may be the right call, as it's still very far ahead on workers due to the openings, and it's got the faster hatchery. Now the question is it going to be able to hold on against any potential aggression? It's currently 18 Lings to 12, so very close in that regard. We see a bunch of Lings actually chase down and kill that other one, and now in comes the Lings for Ender. However, speed is done for Ender, not for Eris. We've got Lings trying to hold the top of the ramp, though, with the Queens. Looks like Eris is electing to pull back its Lings instead of just trading them out. Interesting choice there, but seems to be a pretty advanced one. Those Lings do pull back to the safety of the Queens. Many of them are kept alive, and it seems that that was a pretty solid hold from Eris. Ender attacking into the Queens didn't quite have the numbers to make that happen. However, it is droning behind this, so we're seeing the sort of ebb and flow of this game already. And so far, it's been a good ZVZ. We'll see if Eris is going to be able to counterattack it all, as it is making a lot of its own Lings. So now 26 supply of Lings against 7 for Ender. So there is counterattack potential. We'll have to wait and see. And Eris's game plan seemingly was changed up a lot. All those Lings chasing that one Ling. That's definitely something. But yeah, Eris was originally planning to go for a fast 3 hatch, it looked like, and then it completely changed up its mind. It's now just pooling up Lings and Queens, no drones. So now it's behind in the workers by a very significant amount. We got the Lings still running in circles here for Ender. Eris is sending out its Lings to try and catch that, but then goes back into the main base. So that's interesting, but it looks like Eris does elect to start droning. Looks like it went for an expansion, however that drone was getting chased away by that Lings, and now it can feel free to take that base. Where's that drone going? Anyway, so far, Eris just sitting back, making lots of Zerglings here. And does it go for that expand yet? No, not yet. So taking its sweet time and really, really delaying its expansion. I don't know if it's just these Lings that Ender is sending out that keep messing with the behavior of Eris, as Yeah, Eris just seems to be sitting back for now. It hasn't queued up a hatchery yet. It keeps sending out that drone, but it's not necessarily splitting its units too well to deal with that. We do see Eris still on the defensive end of things, and it really does defend against those Lings of Ender very well. I'm curious to see if Eris will counterattack at this point. It's researching Burrow. It's spreading creep all over the place, but still no extra base, which is unfortunate, as Ender is getting away with this hatchery. Now, a Roach Warren's on the way for Ender. That would be a very good transition, seeing as how, of course, Roaches are much more cost-efficient than Zerglings. Lings have split up for Eris a little bit now, still dealing with these Lings that Ender keeps sending on out. And the fact that Eris keeps having its expansion delayed by this seems to be pretty darn problematic. Now, a drone moves out to that third. Are you going to take that base? Okay, we do see Eris eventually expand way up to the top right, interestingly enough. Now, there's some potential for aggression from Eris, but still it's just mass Lings here, it would seem, from Eris. All the while, Ender just macroing up behind this on 3 bases, getting up a 4th base. That one's actually already done. I did not expect that so quickly, but now it's just starting to produce a lot of Roaches against what is mass Lings. I mean, Lings can work against Roaches depending on how the engagement is, but this is definitely my first time watching one of these bots mass up on Lings like this. I mean, we have definitely seen mass Ling flood bots in the past, but to see Eris building up on just this many Lings is new. However, it does have a Roach Warren on the way, so it will be transitioning. It's got a lair on the way too, so it's not just bricked or anything like that. So that's good to see. Now, drones are transitioning a little bit. However, Lings are there for Eris. Looks like Ender, yeah, the Lings that it keeps sending around really are messing with Eris. We do see good unit splitting from Eris there, though, so it's not just a bot that can only focus on one thing at a time, which is very impressive to see it actually segment off a portion of its units to help deal with that. Now, it's still being pulled all over the place, burrowing its drones to try and keep them alive, shutting down these Lings of Ender. Supply-wise, though, Ender now starting to move out with Roaches, evened up the supply very drastically just off the fact that it's been making Roaches. And we'll see how well this is going to work for a defense for Eris. It's bringing the Queens to come in and help out, but it's going to be Lings against Roaches, which is never a good thing if the Lings don't really have any upgrades. It's going to be all about how this engagement goes down. Lings attacking the Roaches. It's a decent surround, but there's the burrow of the Roaches from Ender, and there's an Overseer on the way now for Eris, but it's had a lot of mining time be denied. It's definitely down on the economic front. The Lings and Roaches just gonna have to hang out while these Roaches of Ender do pop out. But now we're seeing Roach run into the main base of Eris, so Eris has to react to that. Overseers are popping, but all of a sudden those Roaches that were damaged before just planted themselves like potatoes, and now they're ready to pop back up. And Eris is really having a tough time this game. We see a Spine and a Spore on the way, so Ender's still expanding all over the place, getting up a beefy economy. Eris is hanging on, but the fact that it chose to expand to such a vulnerable location is problematic. Just the constant unit presence of Ender has really been messing with Eris. We see one Roach still attacking in the top right, not being dealt with. Eris is now running back into the main base to deal with one more Roach. The play style of Ender is really looking impressive this game. We've got a Hydra Den now just going to be finishing up for Ender. That is something that this bot seems to like to go later in the game. Now Queens and Roaches trying to deal with that Roach, but then it just plants itself again. And so even one of the better bots, like Eris, is being pulled apart by this multitasking. So really well done to the bot author of Ender for being able to produce a bot that is having such efficient harassment. And now we'll see, Eris has got up another base, so it's not just fallen to pieces. It's lacking a little bit of gas, however, but it's not out of this just yet. And we do see Ender coming in for another attack. It's not too many units, though, so Eris can potentially deal with this. Roaches and Lings engaging. Where's the rest of the army, however? They're going back to the main base to deal with one Roach. That's not what you want. Eris needs to deal with the bigger attack on its front, and needs to get a better solution to dealing with this one Roach in its main base. Like, these bots are usually pretty impressive when it comes to dealing with small bits of harassment. But it seems that the frequency of Ender's harassment is just so high that even though Eris has got pretty good defense management, it's actually coming up short a little bit this game. Only 13 workers have died. Ender's definitely been kept on a lower worker count. It could definitely produce more as it's got all the minerals. And there we go. It actually does fire up 10 drones, which is good to see. But some static defense or something for Eris would be a shortcut at this point. But keep in mind that it's so easy to say, oh, if Eris just built static defense, that would be it. But when you're programming a bot, you got to think about not just one game. You got to think about every game that your bot's going to play and how it's going to handle that. Now, we do see mutas are on the way for Ender, so cool to see a bot actually making those. We have a lot of Zerg bots, but we don't see mutas too often, so that's exciting to see. There is currently going to be about 10 out on the field, and as far as anti-air goes for Eris, I think it's pretty much just the queens. 6 queens, lots of transfuse energy at least, but we'll see if this affects Eris's play at all. There is some spore crawlers on the way now, so that is good. It'll actually help deal with some of these burrowed lings at this base once that finishes up. The 4th base getting established for Eris. It's got its own spire on the way. It's Hydroden on the way. It's been a slog so far, but Eris is holding on in this game. Ender is still only on 4 bases, so technically it's now 4 bases to a 5th base going up for the Zerg, or for the red Zerg, pardon me. Roach is moving all over the place. Ender saying, I will strike at 11:55. I love how it calls it shots. And it is going to be attacking on in with Banelings this time, too. So that's really cool to see. I mean, 22 Banelings out for a Zerg bot is pretty darn impressive. It's been a while since I've seen a bot make that many Banelings. There's actually burrowed Banelings, too. In they roll. This base is potentially going to die for Eris. That's not good. It's got 19 roaches out, but where are they? They're just running back into the main base to deal with a lone muta's harassment. Just the harassment of Ender is so on point in this game. It's incredibly impressive. Now, losing this base is unfortunate for Eris. It could be a situation, though, that it actually makes its defense a little bit more manageable if it's not so spread out. We're looking at the map, though, however, it's just red all over the place as units are running all over the place. Looks like there's a bit of counter-roach poking by Eris. We'll see if it can button things down a little bit on 4 bases or not. So far, we see Ender now going for a 5th base Neural Parasite +2 melee attack on the way. We're getting Corruptors out for Eris, which seems to be its anti-air, anti-muta choice, which they're alright at that. And I believe Eris has decent control when it comes to chasing down things like individual mutas with Corruptors, but now it's got to deal with all the Hydras and the Roaches that Ender's been making behind this. Ender is maxed out. I will strike at 13:17. That's only 10 seconds away, and the red Zerg is about half the supply of its opponent. It's investing in Corruptors when it's going to have to deal with this big old ground army of its opponent. And yeah, this is actually really problematic for Eris. I'm wondering if it's going to be able to hold on against this attack. Of course, the Corruptors are chasing the mutas down at this point, at least as far as I can see. There's just so much going on this game. It is really tough to assess. A greater spire, more tech on the way for Ender. Eris is mining, but it's really been reduced just due to that harassment. The natural is now gone, and Eris has fallen in supply quite a bit. It's still got 18 roaches, so it can hold on, and bots aren't as lethal, so maybe Eris will hold on, but Ender's just harassment in this game has been huge. We see Corruptors are chasing down the mutas. Very cool to see. We'll see if there's potentially going to be some caustic spraying going on later on in the game with these Corruptors. That's always cool to see, but now Corruptors of Ender are on the way. And the fact that these two bots are having this kind of scenario is really great to see. Just the level of depth between these bots. It's almost more of a Starcraft game than like a Starcraft Pro match, because, for example, like in a Starcraft, like it's because like the lethality is turned down a little bit in bot games because it's incredibly difficult to program your bots to be lethal. So like when a bot loses a base, it's like, okay, it'll keep playing and doing its thing. Whereas when a human loses the base, it's often game over. So even though Eris lost a base or two, actually, or 3, it's still fighting this out. Now, it's been behind this whole game. It's not necessarily dead, however. It's holding on with all these Corruptors. Queen's now holding the top of the ramp. Where are its roaches? They're actually being chased down by a couple of mutas. That's not good. They do need to get here to defend, as Eris is going down in the supply. Down to 124. That is not great. Lots of drones burrowing, trying to stay alive. Infestors are out on the map. We're even seeing a random swarm host, or 2 swarm hosts actually, for Ender. So that's neat to see, as Ender is now making a smorgasbord full of units, everything under the sun. So that's actually just nutty that the bot author has taken the time to program his bot to make all these different units, to utilize them all. And the smorgasbord strategy of just mixed amounts of units really does seem to be a bot thing too, in which, like, often programmers, they'll make armies of just Marines and tanks, or just roaches, or just, okay, I'm getting to the later tech now, so I'll pretty much have just lings and hydras, that kind of thing. Nope. Ender is making everything. Eris is trying to hold on, however, it's making more Corruptors, which is not what it needs to, not what we need to see. It's already controlling the skies incredibly well. It really does need a better defense when it comes to dealing with all these ground units. It's still falling in supply. We see Ender saying, I will transition to the late game. Corruptors are killing off a lot of the overlords of Ender, supply blocking it. I don't know to what extent, as it's already at 200 supply, but I guess, yeah, it's still above 200 its supply because it's got a good amount of hatcheries and overlords still. Now, more roaches are on the way for Eris. That's good to see. It's on 3 bases, trying to get up a 4th base. So its economic productivity is not very good. And we are seeing more hydras, lings, and infestors coming in, even a couple of locusts joining in the fight. The Corruptors, even caustic spraying that hatchery down. That's a little overkill, don't you think there, Ender? Now, we do have Corruptors chasing a muta on the other side of the map. Who knows? Maybe they will find a way to caustic spray down some of Ender's bases to get some counter damage done, as we really have. There really has been a lack of counter damage, and when a fight actually does happen, it does seem to go to Eris's way with how it's grouping up its units. Corruptors chasing that one muta so far, flying right over those spore crawlers, and oh my gosh, are they not going to get it? Okay, they do get it. I wonder where they're going to go now, but while this is going on, Eris is still down on bases. These Corruptors, where are you going to go? What does the bot say? Okay, I've pushed my Corruptors all the way over on the side of the map. And this is just so much logic being applied here for someone to program this. Like, yes, this is what I want. Now try and get that Viper, and they almost do. Now, however, Corruptors are out for Ender, so the air control for Eris may wane. And oh my gosh, there's actually a Broodlord on the other side of the map with no answer to it. All the Corruptors for Eris are over on Ender's side of the map, and they are getting good value, getting good pickoffs, killing tons of Overlords, that kind of thing. But they need to get over there to deal with that one Broodlord on this side of the map, as this Brood is now working away on the Spore Crawler, just shooting away. What is things you'll only see in a bot game. As... oh man, where'd those Corruptors go? Okay, there's 7 still alive. Is that Broodlord going to get dealt with? I'm not sure, but the lack of Eris being able to establish another base has been really just problematic for it. That Spore goes down now, so the drones have no choice but to burrow. And it seems that Eris has just been off-kilter a little bit this entire game. And Ender has really capitalized on it. It's incredible. Strong attacks have been great to see, and now it's saying it's going to transition to Ultra Wave. Now, I'm not sure that means Ultralisk. Maybe just it means like getting 200 attack or going in, or utilizing its mass spore tactic like we've seen from it. Corruptors flying over spores, not so good to see. For Eris, the one Broodlord still causing problems, and this base really is the last mining base for Eris, so no more resources are coming in, as this one Broodlord is the check and mate, it would seem. In comes all the infestors, mass fungal growths going down from those. They don't actually hit that many roaches, just overkills a few roaches. There's a lot more fungals. These roaches are going to need to take a nap in the dirt to heal up, that's for sure. Where's the Corruptors? Still on the other side of the map, not dealing with the Broodlords. As far as what behavior could be implemented from Eris to defend against this kind of thing, maybe make your Corruptors prioritize if there's an air unit attacking you to deal with that first. But then again, there's so many layers to these bots. It's hard for me to understand. And it's hard to draw a conclusion just from one of these games. So now we take a look here. We have got, yeah, roaches still dealing with this, but Eris really hasn't been able to make anything. The Corruptors not dealing with this Broodlord really have been the nail in its coffin. It would seem as, yeah, the Spore Crawler could even just burrow under, could just move underneath this Broodlord, but it's not happening. There's the Corruptors. Are they going to do it? Are they going to kill the Broodlord? They do actually kill the Broodlord, so these drones may now mine in peace. It took a long time, but there we go. Back on track for Eris. I don't know if the damage has been done or not, because Ender is maxed out. It's doing its mass Spore Crawler thing to get up extra supply up to 214 right now. Making infestors, Broodlords, and I get the feeling that that Ultra Wave thing it was talking about is going to be coming the way of Eris fairly soon. Corruptors are still killing off lots of Overlords. As how many Overlords have died this game? 43 Overlords for Ender have died. That's no joke. But then that doesn't really matter when it's got all the resources under the sun, as it's taking pretty much all the bases. Eris trying to get up a 4th base. It's the little bot that could, as it keeps on trying to expand, keeps on fighting. It's got 48 roaches to its name, so that's a significant ground army, and there really isn't too much beef in the army for Ender, as it's got a whopping 23 infestors. Oh my gosh, the fungal growths going down are just disgusting. The roaches can walk off quite a few fungals, but there's another one going down. The Broodlords are shooting away too. I don't know where those Corruptors are. They're actually dead now, so there's literally no answer to the Broodlords at this point. And while infestors may not be the best against roaches, they're doing pretty darn good. And a lot of these infestors are being chased down, so it's not exactly cost efficient for Ender, but I think Ender's been doing just fine this game, as there's still no answer for the Broodlords. There we go, 1 Corruptor is being made. That's all Eris can afford. This poor broke ass bot. And what a game this has been. The fact that Eris is still fighting, and the fact that on the SC2 AI ladder there's probably a dozen games like this going on right now is just phenomenal. Couple more Corruptors being made. We see 34 spores being made for Ender. It's about to do that thing, which it just makes a boatload of units. There we go, 18 infestors. That's what it says it needs. It's interesting timing on the spore trick, as there we go. It cancels all the spores and is up to 233 supply. Ender's slowly killing its opponent at this point. There's the Corruptors out. You got to give it to Eris for not dying, but as far as creativity and the bot author goes, I think Ender may be the top bot, with a bot that just says, yeah, 230 supply, 18 infestors. I imagine the bot authors had a lot of fun programming this one. Now, the mining is still being denied. The Corruptors are, for some reason, afraid of the Broodlords, which is not how it's supposed to go. So maybe a little bit of a tweak needed on Eris's air control, although this game has been going wrong a lot longer than that. And I think we're pretty much at the climax here, as in goes these infestors again, tossing down more and more fungals. What a disgusting amount of spells being utilized. Roaches can't burrow to get away from a fungal. No neural parasites really being used, but there's been a lot of fungal, a lot of red roaches, and every roach that dies at this point is one that Eris cannot replace. This base has officially been conquered, it would seem. The roaches burrowing, they're like, alright, we're full health already pretty much because we're roaches. But there's still the Broodlords in the sky. The Corruptors are still alive. I don't know what they're doing. They're just flying around doing their thing. So yeah, maybe a bit of work needs to be done for Eris's Corruptors, although it would be interesting to see in a game that it's not behind the whole time, but still, what a great game this has been. Ender really putting on a show for us. And if you did enjoy this one, ladies and gentlemen, you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video and a comment that says more bots. If you do want to support this content, consider becoming a YouTube member using that join button or link in the description. As I think we're at the end of this one. There's 3 drones left for Eris, and generally that's when a game ends. Fungal's just going out, chasing down the roaches. Broodlord's still shooting away the corruptors. Finally get the stones to deal with one of them. But no matter what, I think we're pretty much at the end here. Mass fungal is a valid strategy when you're a bot with unlimited APM. Who'd have thought? Okay, there they go. Those roaches are just constantly green. The infestors lose energy and pull back. But there we go. That base is going to go down to that lone Hydra, getting it done. And they're saying, who needs an actual army when I have just spellcasters, pretty much. Eris is now pushed back to its natural with its handful of roaches. Still fighting the good fight, but every unit that dies at this point cannot be replaced. There's literally one drone left. Where is it? Where is he? Mr. Drone, where are you? Sometimes Starcraft is weird and doesn't bring you to what you want to see. Oh, he's burrowed in the ground. Oh, there you go. He's just waiting for better days. But I'm not sure better days are going to come for this guy as the locusts are slowly working on this. There's a big engagement as the infestors run up the ramp once more. Fungals galore on this Zerg army. They're all going to potentially pop this time. There might actually be enough fungal to kill a roach. Turns out that's somewhere around the 56 infestor mark for Ender. And the locusts are trying to pop everything off. Funnily enough, some of the roaches do survive that. And they're all just like, yep, I'll heal up. 22 roaches still remain. A lone Hydra and some locusts coming in, trying to get kills. It's actually amazing how resilient these roaches are. They're very aptly named. The Eris breed of roach is extra resilient. And they're moving out again. They're going to attack this base. I did not expect Eris to be getting more damage, or getting damage done this game. Actually, that's probably more damage than it's got done all game, for the most part. Some roaches moving out now. Cue the Benny Hill theme as they're running around. They're being chased. They're just sending it. However, the main base has been breached. Fungal growth's getting tossed on everything. Good thing for Eris that there isn't infested Terran in the game anymore. Good thing for all of us, to be honest. The roach is now coming home, and oh my gosh, are they actually going to be able to kill these infestors? They're killing a good amount. How many infestors have died? 17. And that could be a lot more if there was an overseer, which there is 7 of, and there is actually one over that army, I believe. Maybe not. They're kind of all over the place, actually. But the roach is still fighting the good fight. Their numbers have dwindled to 19, however. They lost Brother Jim. Okay, another fungal going down. More fungals. Eris saying, I will not go quietly into that good night. As the roaches are still fighting off. Oh my gosh. Why did Eris need to make anything more than 19 roaches if it can live this long with them? Infestors still being chased down and killed off. A large number of infestors have actually died this game. And turns out that infestors are not good against roaches. Locusts potentially going to kill a roach here and there, but they just burrow and they get out almost every time. Although now we're down to 17, so their numbers are dwindling, albeit very slowly. You know, I honestly expected this game to be over by now. As Ender has literally the whole map, taking the natural of Eris, because why not? Roaches going down the ramp, doing their thing, eating lots of fungals, eating more and more fungals. The queen almost kills a roach, but not quite. It stays alive, and now they're all healing on up. The roaches still eating more and more fungals. Okay, there's enough fungals. Okay, roaches are dying. We're down to 11. Looks like another one just died to some locust. You gotta give it to Eris for holding on. 8 roaches left. How many fungals can one roach eat? Apparently a lot. Okay, apparently the game ended at some point. I don't know what the trigger was for Eris to say, alright, I'm going to throw in the towel, but it did. Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of a sillier one this match, but if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.